Hello and welcome to Bookish and Beverages. I'm Melissa and I pair a delicious beverage with summary recaps on fantasy book series so you can remember what happened without having to reread it. And today we'll be diving into A Soul of Ash and Blood by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is book number 5 in the Blood and Ash series. And content warning, if you haven't read this book, there are 4 spoilers ahead, so pause, save, and come back later. Now, let's go grab our drink. For our beverage today, we'll be making a Rosemary Mint Memory Tea. Here's what you'll need. In a tea strainer for loose leaf teas, add 1 sprig of fresh rosemary or 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary. Add 1 teaspoon of peppermint. Add 1 cup of boiling water. Cover and let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes. Once it's done steeping, strain the tea. Add honey or sweetener to your taste. Stir and enjoy. Drinks in hand, let's dive into our book. Poppy has gone primal. The primal of blood and bone, of life and death to be exact, and finally ended the Blood Crown's reign by taking out her psychotic and vengeful mom, Elspeth, the former queen of Solace. Sometimes mother doesn't know best. Ask Rapunzel. Now they have a new villain to defeat, Colas, the OG and true primal of death. He may not be corporeal yet, but he is awake, free, and a major red flag. Plus, the golden boy revenant Callum is MIA, which is bad news bears because he was the puppet master stringing along Elspeth. If you do need a refresher on any of the previous 4 books in the Blood and Ash series, I'll have links to my summary recaps down in the description below. Cass, Poppy, Kieran, Delano, and Nectus are searching Wayfair Castle for Jadis, Nectus's daughter, and Iris, Poppy's daddy-o and Malik's twin brother. Meanwhile, the Wolven and others are searching Carcedonia, the capital of Solace, for the Ascended and Malik, Cass's brother, because he went running after Millie, his heartmate, and Poppy's revenant sister. The grounds around them rumble, the gods are awakening, and that was most likely Penelope, Poppy's namesake, because she was sleeping under the city's library. Poppy and crew find Iris locked in a cage in his large kitty cat form. Poppy uses her calming magical abilities on her dad to help him shift back into his mortal form, and he reveals that he knows who Poppy is and where Jadis's location is before he passes out. The whole time they are on the scavenger hunt, Cass and Kieran both feel that something is off with Poppy. And then, bam, she passes out. As told by Nectus, it's not just any normal passing out. She's in stasis, the deep sleep to help her finish her culling. She'll wake up in a day, maybe 2, maybe a week. Who knows? It's different for everyone. Oh, and to be aware of, she might lose some of her memories, so make sure you talk to her and tell her some good stories. Cass and Kieran make Poppy comfortable in a guest room as Cass tells his side of the story, beginning from when he first meets the maiden. For the sake of time and giving you the details you need before you actually read The Primal of Blood and Bone, I'm going to be summarizing what is happening in the present day chapters of this book, since basically the rest of it is Cass's POV. So you can always jump to the recap on the first book from Blood and Ash if you really need that reminder. Interrupting story time, Malik and Millie come barging into the room demanding to know what's going on with Poppy. After reluctantly sharing her stasis deep sleep condition, Millie asks for some alone time to visit with Poppy. And by alone, I mean Kieran and Delano remain in the room as Poppy's bodyguards. Cass and Malik step into the hallway and have a bro-to-bro chat to finally air out the dirty laundry and emotional baggage that's been brewing between them. Getting most of that out of the way, it was back to business. Malik and Millie were able to kill most of the revenants loyal to Elspeth, but the others that still live are definitely going to be worse than a cockroach infestation because they were going to try everything to bring back Colas, their true creator, to full power. Cass continues his story time all the way through to when he announces they were going to Atlantia to get married. So basically the end of the book for From Blood and Ash. Falling asleep next to Poppy, Cass wakes with a jolt as a revenant tries to stab him with a dagger. But not just any dagger. It's a dagger carved of the bones of the ancients, you false primal numbskull, able to kill a god and incapacitate a primal. A false primal? Okay, why are you calling me that? Cass and the Revenant prick fight it out until the Revenant stabs Cass in the chest, and it does some serious damage. Paralyzed, Cass watches as the Revenant goes to Poppy, sings that awful poppy flower song, and touches her. Rage, fury, power, banana! Cass is flooded with power. Lightning streaks the sky, and he shifts into a cave cat. He shreds the Revenant to pieces, thank God, and goes to protect Poppy as Kieran and Emil show up. Kieran mind speaks with a feral Cass, getting him to calm down and shift back to his mortal form. What the fuck just happened? Suddenly, the room starts to rumble, and cracks in the floor appear around Poppy, Cass, and Kieran, and lights up. The symbols of life and death.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
Poppy glows like a Christmas tree. The light fades and she begins waking up. Like Bella at the end of Breaking Dawn Part 1, her eyes open and they're red. Just kidding. But they're not her normal green either. They're the pure silvery ether of the primal of life and death. Will she remember them? Dun, dun, dun. And what are some of your predictions for the next book, The Primal of Blood and Bone? Let me know in the comments. I'm always just so curious to see what everyone else comes up with. And that concludes the summary recap for A Soul of Ashen Blood. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more summary recaps on your favorite fantasy series. If you enjoyed this one, please like, subscribe, and share with your fellow book lovers. Also, if you do have any recommendations on fantasy series you want summarized as well, just drop it into the comments below. And thank you, thank you, thank you.